Welcome to the Miners Coffee Podcast, the show where we'll bring you the best of coffee, entrepreneurship, success, and urban lifestyle. I'm Sarah, full-time coffee fanatic, former barista, and now your host. Together, we'll take a deep dive into what makes the Miners and other companies like it stand apart from the rest. We'll look at how businesses grow from an idea you had just before bed into internationally known enterprises. We'll interview the people who lead the charge and learn what makes them tick. And hopefully, by the end of it, you may be just so inspired to go out and create something from nothing yourself. Welcome back to Chats Over Coffee. Today, we're with Tino Forbidden from Life is Porno, a collective of creatives with projects in art, extreme sports, and street fashion. Tino himself is also an author, entrepreneur, and even a podcast host.
Kind of, yeah.
Co-host? Host?
Kind
Guest.
of, yeah, kind of both.
Kind of both. So thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Thanks for the invite. Yeah, I'm doing really good. Any chat over coffee sounds like a good plan. So mainly with Miners Coffee, which is my really big time favorite, and I really love the coffee you guys doing. So I'm really enjoying that so far. So hopefully it gets even better.
Yeah, great. I'm happy to hear that you enjoy the coffee. You would think maybe it was a prerequisite for anyone that would be on the show that we would make sure that they like Miners first, but actually I hadn't checked with everyone.
Yeah, we have them. We're your customer at the office as well. So it's pretty funny because I like wild coffees, right? So I'm happy with like a sour coffee and with like a sourish, acid espressos and I used to have a big trouble with it in the office because not everybody is like that, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So after some time, my team started speaking up a little bit, we kind of quit drinking coffee anymore. And I was so happy, so proud, to bring in the best coffees that I was bringing for my travels. And I thought everybody was really happy about it, but obviously they weren't. But now we're doing the office blend and some other stuff. And and it's working for everyone. It's working for me. It's working for the team. So it's just fine. I like
the Miners office blend.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I'm, this is one of my part-time jobs, but at my full-time job, I am still really, every day, I'm like, we could get any other kind of coffee than what we have right now. It tastes like dirt. And I am, probably more picky than the average coffee drinker, but this is just heinous. So
yeah, I love coffee. That's something that it's really close to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a big part of my life basically, and in any kinds of course I love espresso, but I love filters. So batch is amazing here as well. But it's I'm a big coffee person. So
well, I'm really happy to hear obviously that you love coffee, but maybe you can now start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, where are you from, and just a brief history of you.
So the toughest questions in the beginning, right? Yeah, so I'm Tino, and I come from Slovakia, but I've been living here in Prague for I think 12 years, and I don't know, I consider myself a creative or a creator and entrepreneur. I've been running a streetwear brand and art label called Life is Porno. We work with, as you mentioned, with a lot of people from action sports, with artists, be it street artists or tattoo artists. Artists of any kind basically, and we create also our own streetwear, the whole range of streetwear pretty much in those years, and we just love what we are doing, and we just keep doing it, and people seem to like it too, so that we're really lucky with that. And apart from that, we run a space called Forbidden Spot, which is an art space. Right now it's not very publicly open. Since the COVID, we just kind of stopped focusing on the live events and everything like that. We just now more focus on the clothing and on the projects that we do with the brand. Yeah, and I wrote a book called Forbidden. It's about basically my journey and like kind of my lessons that I learned along the way about branding, building communities, and like creativity and some kind of like life hacks. And that had always been my dream to write a book, so I did. And you know how they say like write a book that you would like to read yourself, and so I decided to do so. So this was I think 2 years ago. And yeah, I'm pretty active in many different fields. So like the NFT space, I'm pretty active in. I co-host the show there, and I have another brand, like an experiment brand that I do with. It's called infi.torem. So I actually have my own chocolate, which is pretty cool, and that chocolate is coffee infused. So
nice.
That's pretty dope. It's actually available on Rohlik and. Here in Czech, and yeah, and I mean, I do a bunch of stuff. So like, it's pretty, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's now kind of hard to know where to start, seeing as you do everything. But maybe we can start from even before you started Life is Porno. How did you get to that point? Like,
Sure.
You said you're from Slovakia.
Yeah.
I don't know really what the streetwear culture is like there, or if it even exists.
It was not existing now back then. Like, so we started in 2012, and prior to that, I was working for Red Bull for 6 years. So for 3 years, I was working in Slovakia, doing a lot of like university marketing, doing a lot of cool events.
Was it crazy?
At the university? It was pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually co-created a concept that became global. And thanks to that, I got a chance to work at the headquarters. So for 3 years, I was working at the Red Bull headquarters in Austria, which is amazing, which sounds great, but it was it was actually like a dream job. But as I said, like the words dream and job shouldn't be like linked together.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I always felt I wanted to do something on my own, but I was actually living a dream because I was traveling the world, like working with like the best agencies, directly with Facebook, with Google headquarters, and doing a lot of creating a lot of digital campaigns because I was focused on digital advertising in Red Bull. But then came the point, I was like 25, 26. Living in Salzburg, right? And Salzburg is like 100,000 people, and it's a beautiful city right now for me. With a kid, I would love to live there for a while. Like, why not? It's amazing. It has mountains. It has like it's calm. It's fine. But when you're 25 or something like that, it's not really the place where you want to stay.
Yeah, it's more to settle down.
Yeah. So I always felt, and my whole kind of life was here in Prague, including my. Then girlfriend, now wife, Yvonne, we decided to move here together to Prague, and with my best friends, and mainly with my best friend Dian, who is a street artist. We had already been doing some stuff in like in the underground and doing a lot of like events and other. He was designing a lot of clothes already for like celebrities and and we decided to start the label officially. In 2012, and and that's how it all started, and the rest is history, I guess. So yeah,
cool. Yeah, I actually work for a marketing agency now, and they used to have Red Bull as a client, and it was unsustainable for our CEO. He's like, I can't go to any more parties or events, or I like really want some part of my weekend back. Like they, I think, got really burnt out. But they loved it. But it doesn't sound like it's maybe a job you can have forever.
Yeah, but it was not really about partying. It was because I was doing, as I said, like digital advertising. So mostly like campaigns. It works that in headquarters, you develop the campaigns, and then like the different markets can be using them. Also like different like digital events and like the digital activations that we were doing. And you then launch them in the markets, right? But it was still a corporation, even though a cool corporation.
Yeah.
And I just felt, I always wanted my own business, and I just said to myself, like, if not now, then when, and so I just decided to quit. I told my boss back then. I still remember that discussion, and it was really hard for me because I was really preparing the speech. What do I tell her, and stuff like that, and yeah, it was actually like a really big, really important moment for me as well. The decision, and then like really saying it out loud and making the step, because the step was like, it was obviously like, it sounded stupid, like go and tell your parents that you're going to be working, that you're going to be launching your own brand called Life is Porno, instead of like a fucking amazing job at Red Bull, right?
Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah, I imagine that discussion. I think you are there in the discussion that I'm telling my mom. It was pretty funny, but.
So at that moment when you were telling your mom, did you already have the name Life is Porno?
Yeah, so Life is Porno had started even before that. So like a bunch of my closest friends were living under one roof here in Prague, actually really close to here. And the place we called Porno Villa. And it was not really, it was not a squad. It was like a normal like apartment building where all the apartments were taken by like different kind of creatives. So like there was filmmakers, there was Dion the artist, there was like an actor, there was not a porn actor, normal actor, there was a photographer, there was a musician and stuff like that. So it was really a house for creating, right? Like
some kind of co-op.
Yeah, pretty much. But taken like speaking of like 2010 era, like it was a bit different. So it was a lot of creation happening, a lot of parties happening as well, and we all were kind of creating in different fields. So I was also doing music, and like each of us used to have their own circle. And then like Dian, my business partner, who I'm doing the brand with, he said like, why don't we just, like kind of connect it all together, connect the dots and start doing it officially together, So that's how it all started. And we started working like slowly on launching the brand, preparing like the first collections, preparing everything like needed for that, like from the company, like legal stuff and everything like that. All the way to the launch party, which was amazing. It was like 1,200 people, and it was really big. So already like it was a movement already before launching officially, So
yeah,
like
so you had the
people wanted
momentum.
already the hand painted caps from Dian before we even started. They were wearing them, like, but it was like this kind of underground thing, and then like we kind of started it officially, and it just the fun started then.
Yeah. So I mean, the way you described it kind of sounds maybe like it was smooth sailing at the beginning. Was there any points where you're like, man, I wish I didn't quit working for Red Bull, or I made a mistake, or?
I'm not that kind of person that I regret stuff. So I'm really usually looking forward, like up front, like really like thinking of a problem, like not why it happened, but what can I do with it, right? If you know what I mean. And so. Of course, like mainly in the beginning, like there were moments where like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what? I'm not sure if I can be using the F word,
you can say whatever you want.
What the hell am I doing? Like, and even like actually, it's pretty funny, and I can mention that like when I left Red Bull, I actually still they wanted to keep me for a specific event or like specific projects that I created. And they wanted me to keep running them as a freelancer, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually did, and it was pretty funny because I was, instead of like 7 or 10 projects, I was running 1 or 2, and I was making more money as a freelancer, which was like hilarious, right? But then, like at some point, like the moment came that I realized that okay. You actually left the company. It's still giving you quite like really good money, but you are still there with your head, with your focus, instead of like being like fully focused and fully moving forward what you originally intended to do. And then like actually finish those projects. I said like, okay, now it's time like to go fully in, start focusing fully like 100% on the brand. And that was a big milestone. It was a big game changer for me. It might have been only like in my head, but it it was a really big shift for me and for brand as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risky part, is that you can't really see how far something can go unless you fully let go of what you're doing previously and put your whole self into it.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. But then
it's always, like when you're sitting on two chairs, it's fine for some time, like it's okay, but you keep the balance. But at one point, and I usually, I usually feel it. You asked me before as a podcast, and I used to have the podcast, and then came the moment when I felt like, okay, it's taking more from me than it's given me, and I'm not enjoying it anymore. So I'm just gonna pause it or just leave it like it is for a while, maybe for a month, maybe for a year, maybe for 5 years, I don't know. And like sometimes even that decision, like, whew, like it comes down, like from your arms, and you're like, wow, like why didn't I do it like earlier, right? And it's sometimes about like this like little things that make a big difference in your life. Like, why am I actually doing it? Like because I always used to do it. Like, is that the only reason?
Yeah.
And often it is.
Yeah, that, or for me, I really hate to even begin to think of disappointing someone. If it's anything that has, like, even if have been in a job and it's awful, I don't like it, they know I don't like it, I'm sad to be there every day, I still feel like this weird sense of loyalty. And I think that's one of the things I like most about, I guess, my generation and the ones coming, are you don't have to be in the same career your entire life, especially if you don't like it. You can pivot, you can do something new, you can quit. Like, if something isn't serving you anymore, then why would you stay there?
Absolutely. One point there, because I see with like the now I sound fucking old, but I am actually. But it's like I see it with like the team, or like the younger employees that we used to have, or like the people that I used to work with. Exactly what you said. Like, okay, so now like I start doing this and this, and like, okay, like first fuck up comes, and they like, okay, like maybe this is not what I'm meant to be, and I'm just gonna try to do something else. But that's something different that you are saying.
Yeah.
Because people are like, well, let me find myself somewhere else. But it's not. It's really important to keep saying like, no, like the problems will come, and you just continue. Maybe it gets you better and stuff like that. So people are kind of trying to find themselves, like, and we have that freedom. Exactly. There is no single reason right now, like in 2023, to be like, to feel horrible in your job. There is not one reason. If you work for me or with me and you hate what you are doing, please, it will be better for you, for myself, for the rest of the world, because you won't behave like an asshole to everyone.
Yeah.
If every single person in the world was doing their job and loving what they do, at least liking, not even loving what they do, at least some like big part of it, then like the world would be so cool. Imagine people would be smiling, people would not be like assholes and stuff. So this is I think it's really important what you said, and I think like we have beautiful choice. You can like, exactly, like you can start from scratch right away. Like there are success stories like I saw this beautiful chart, like the amazing brands of the world, and the age when the founders actually founded that company. And for me, I remember like when I was at Red Bull, I remember when we were in the talks with Mr. Mateschitz, and I really remember until now when I was thinking, okay, now I'm like 25 is right, and he started this company when he was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 56, right? I'm like, damn it, like still like 20 more years to go, and I still have so much time. And that's the thing, we have time. Like every single of us, even if you are 60, you still have time, because like the world changed. It's not like when we were young, like when I was like young, like 40-year-old person was old as hell. Like now 40 is fine. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've had this anxiety because I went to school and did my bachelor's in a completely unrelated field, and because I wanted to be a doctor. And then I realized that I didn't really want that lifestyle, and especially in the US, to pay all of this money for more education and to be stressed really for the rest of my life. And so I ended up traveling abroad, came to Czech Republic, really liked it, went to school here, did a master's in art. And now I'm 30, and I'm like, I really am happy right now in the present with what I'm doing, but I still really have no idea where I will go next. And I have been so anxious about this. Like, I just turned 30 in October, and I was so not looking forward to it.
That's the thing. Sometimes it's okay, like to not to know.
Yeah.
And I actually sometimes enjoy it. Like, I love like having stuff planned, like knowing what's up front and like not being nervous from the situation or even like what's coming in the years. At the same time, like, thanks, like, for example, I'll say an example with a brand. I'll take it more to business from life. And, like when you are in a bigger corporation or any like company with a structure and stuff like that, these structures, these processes are super important. Like, this is what I learned from Red Bull, because it was a nice mixture of like a Procter and Gamble style, like one pagers and like really something like structured, and like this kind of like lifestyle and people being like really friends basically and loving what they are doing, what they do. And this is, I even tweaked it a little bit in my company and in my companies basically, that, like, of course, like the structure, the financials, the kind of groundworks, that's must. It has to be there. Like, you have to have like amazing like data, like somebody has to take care of the processes. Where is it stored? So, like where to find it, because like if it's a mess, it's a chaos.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's too much of it, like you're not able to pivot. You're not able to have fun. Like if I wrote a business plan in 2012 and said like, okay, we're going to be doing like, it would be probably like, I'm going to be doing headwear and t-shirts and hoodies, right? I would have no idea that I'm once going to be doing like I don't know, events, or I'm going to be running an art spot. Yeah. Or we're going to be doing our own sneakers or this and that, like, or an NFT project, right? Because it didn't exist. So like, you need to have this kind of freedom of not knowing where are you going next, at the same time with some kind of like a background, like base ground, if you know what I mean. Is like, okay, this is like, I'm fine, and let's see where it takes us.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in this process of trying to figure things out, you're getting a lot of different experience from all of these different jobs or people you meet. And it only, I think, makes you better at whatever you eventually end up doing, even if the path seems a little unfocused to start with. But like you said, like, you need a little bit of this spontaneity and maybe instability to make things interesting and to keep being creative, I would say.
I agree, Sarah. And I got like, I try to mentor some people, and like people come with questions to me and stuff like that, like, and actually mainly like the youngsters, right? Like, oh, I want to have a brand. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, okay, so just fucking start. Like, what have you done last week? Like in last 10 days, what have you done to create the world that you want to live in, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, yeah, so I was thinking, I was doing, and there are no really like specific things that they actually are like willing to do, because anything, like, it doesn't have to be brand. It can be any kind of business, any kind of project, any podcast, whatever. It just about hours of the like that you take, you roll up your sleeves and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And just keep doing grinding and like really learning basically. And what I usually say, like when somebody's like, okay, should I quit my job and start my own like a business and stuff like that? Like, the best thing is like, ideally, as long as possible, keep both, right? Like, to have it as a side job and do it like in the evening, like from 9 till 12, you have like 3 hours. And if you manage like 3 hours a day, is like what? With 3 by 30, it's like it's a lot of hours per month, right? The coffee didn't hit yet. Yeah, and it's so what I wanted to say, like, we sometimes underestimate, like, I'm gonna watch some Netflix because I deserve it. Fuck off! You don't deserve it. Like, why would, like? It's an excuse, like, just do something. Just do something that brings you closer to your goal, or DM somebody, like, who is already doing what you are doing. That somebody is running this and this business or doing this and this project. Ask them, like, how is it? Like, how is actually the time? Like, how is actually being that what I want to be in life? And people sometimes, like, often forget about it, and like it's.
Yeah, I think people get nervous about where to start, but maybe it isn't as hard as they're making it out to
It's
be.
usually just starting.
Yeah.
And I always say, like I said in my book, like first step. It's like really, it's about the first step. So like any kind of even brainstorming and everything, like I always do like, what are the action steps? Like and it should be as simple as possible. Like pick up that phone or Google it or register
picking up
that.
the phone though, that we can't do that. Somehow that's really hard for at least me and probably our generation. I bet Gen Z also doesn't like talking on the phone.
Yeah, but it's also, it doesn't have to be. I'm also like I learned from my close friend. She's Misha Lozekut. She's an amazing author and creative, and she's famous for not picking up the phone, but like not really. But it's really amazing because she doesn't give anyone her phone number, and if some clients that she works with are not happy with it, that they cannot pick up the phone and call her, like. Then they're not the right clients, and she's not the right person for them because it would never work out, right?
A built-in filter.
So she's like, okay, write me an email or this and this or this communication channel. I'll reply you as soon as you can. You'll have everything. But when you pick up the phone, you know, like I'm in creative mood. I'm writing. I'm doing this. And you take me away from there. And it's so hard to get back, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not that like it's 3 minutes for you, but for me it's like half an hour lost forever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always I'm also that like very careful about like picking up the phone, like when we are not scheduled or something like that. I think COVID changed that quite a lot, like for people that okay, you should have a scheduled call. At the same time, like picking up the phone is also like recording a voice message to someone or writing a DM on Twitter or on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. Because like, it's sometimes so easy, you know, like we create our own scenarios like, oh, they have so many DMs, they will never reply me. And like, why? Just try it, you know, like ask that person.
Yeah, man, you really took even my joke and made a good reason why it shouldn't be an excuse. So you're saying that like you started this brand in 2012 now, and I'm sure that your role has evolved over the last 10 years or so. So what are you actually doing now? Like, what does your day look like?
Yeah, it's changed a lot, but at the same time, like in some things, like it hasn't changed much at the same time. So. For me, still the main focus is the brand. We recently have taken under our wings another project, which is a brand for kids, like a kids streetwear brand. Aww. It's called Low Fat, or we're gonna rename it to Louf. It's pretty well known here. It's like my son, like even before I had anything to do with that, it's my friends, but my son's. Most of his clothes, like 90% of his clothes were from this brand, from Low Fat. And it's like really, you know, like they started it in 2015, doing it for kids. And they're among the first brands basically in Europe doing like a black and white, like really kind of trendy streetwear for kids, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, like we're joking that we are making grandmas angry since 2015 because, you know, like the kids are not wearing those, like the girls are not wearing pink and the guys are not wearing blue, but they are like wearing like this kind of unisex black and white or whatever, like long cuts, baggy pants and stuff like that. And so for a year already, this has also been quite some focus for me. I'm helping to restart the brand a little bit. We have this little cool character called Panda Fu. It's like really cool panda with a hoodie, and we have a big costume and doing a lot of activities with him. So like I'm also like this my, you know, like I love to find these kind of side projects inside my projects, which kind of keep me going because I'm always really good at starting stuff. I'm not that good at execution. I always, you know, like I always love, like some people are really amazing executioners. I'm like the starter. I can connect the dots. I can like really be quick and effective in like really starting something and you know, like putting the team together and like starting rolling the ball. But I really hate actually the keep rolling that ball myself. And I learned that in a hard way, basically. So like at some point with my brand, I learned like you sit on many chairs, as I said, and you know, like some things took me like many hours, you know, like taking care of like the numbers and data and stuff like that. And then I realized that somebody who actually loves that part, and it's really easy for them, they would make it in half an hour. And then I would have time to actually look at those numbers, not to make like create those tables, but actually to look at them and like really create some kind of outcomes out of it, right? And this was a big game changer for me. So I always try to work with people who are better than me in these specific things. And we have an amazing team. So the production team is great. We have like as I said, like the financials have to be in place always, and you know, like it also like it's also good for me, you know, to still be involved and not to be afraid to roll up the sleeves, as I mentioned before, you know, sometimes. So my role basically is I take care of the brand itself, like the strategy and like the big picture, but also like some of the like mainly marketing and corporations and this kind of stuff and business decisions. So
yeah, I've actually heard a lot of entrepreneurs say something like this, that they are the ones to get things going and get things started, and then they set up an incredible team to make sure that it continues.
And it's hard because, you know, like mainly when you start, it's sometimes impossible, you know, like you cannot afford people, you know, like I can. But then when you know, like put it in like a smaller parts, like maybe I don't need like full-time finance person. Maybe this person can do it in like 5 hours a week or a month. And, you know, like, and all of a sudden you can afford it. When you compare it to your time that you lose like much more many hours and it's the less quality outcome, then you're actually making money, not, you know, like losing money. So it's very hard, mainly in the beginning of any kind of business, any kind of startup. But at the same time, it's like when the startup becomes a company, you know, like that's when the fun like starts.
Yeah. So would you say that you still have a lot of input when it comes to things like the design of the clothes, or like?
Fortunately not. Nobody would be wearing it. Now I'm kidding. Like regarding like the business, my co-founder Dian, he's the creative director of the brand. So it's always like most of the designs, like we also work with many designers and artists, but most of the designs and the creative directions come from his head or his iPad, and then it's coming through the production team that actually executes it and creates it, produces it, and etc. So I'm not that much involved in like specific designs. I'm still like together with him. We like he's like he's the one. He's like the creative force in terms of like the clothing, the designs, and everything. I'm involved like in the major decisions, like should we like with some products, you like, is this like he asked me for my opinion rather. So it's but it's not that I would be like daily involved in designs and this kind of stuff, and because again, like he is much better than me in this. So it's he has much better like kind of taste, forward thinking, and he understands the trends, where it's heading, and stuff like that. I know how to sell it. Yeah. I know how to market it. I know how to find the audience. I know how to build a community. And like ever since the beginning, like we've been in the company together, and we really knew, both of us, which are our strengths, right? And I always say like whenever, like we never really got into an argument in those, which I'm gonna knock on the wood because hopefully it never becomes. But of course, like we are men, so like we argue over stuff, you know, like we can get vocal and like, but it's okay, you know, like but at the same time, like whenever there is a decision regarding something that he is more kind of not capable of, but like that's his domain, then I lean toward his decision. And the same with me, like you know, like we like
trust each other
like 150 or like 5,000%. So like we can like discuss, we debate stuff, But the final decision, I like regarding like designs or this kind of direction and stuff, it would be on him, and the same the other way other way around with me.
So then would something like a potential collaboration, would that be up to you or both of you?
Yeah, that's usually both of us. It usually comes, like all the collabs that we do, it's usually like also like personal, that we know the people, or like we somehow, like want to help each other. It's like, I always say that a collab should be a win-win, that it should be, like a win for both sides. So like, that like it's not only one side game, and so it's usually very natural for us. So it's usually with the people that we have been friends with for a longer time, or we've been looking at their work for a longer time and being their fan, or they're our fans, and so it comes very organically, and one of us usually gets either the idea or the opportunity, and we discuss it usually together.
So it's not usually a case of turning someone down. Like, are they more seeking out collaborations with you, or you with them? Or like you said, it's just more organic. So
it depends. Of course, we're getting a lot of,
because you're popular,
emails. Yeah. We get a lot of emails and a lot of offers also from like bigger brands, for instance, wanting to collab with us. And then it's always about this kind of radar that you have, like, what is it a win-win, or is like if one is David and other is Goliath, like it should be like both. It should be like really helpful for both sides, and it should make sense. We should have fun with it, and we do get quite some offers and potential like possibilities for collaborations. And we always, like we never say no right away. Like let's talk, let's see, like let's explore, and it depends. Like it's usually like I said, like very organic. Even if it doesn't make sense for me in the beginning, after some talks, I find the angle that could make sense for us as a brand, or the other way around. Like even if I let them in the beginning, okay, not really sure if it makes sense, and we keep talking. And then actually after like 3 calls or like 2 calls, they actually understand, no, it doesn't really make sense, Yeah. So it's, or the right time comes, because sometimes, like we say like, it's not, we don't really feel it, like we have different priorities, both you and us. So let's wait until the time comes and it pops up and it's there. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's just a matter of time and circumstance.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's about the timing for sure. Timing is very important there, because sometimes, but at the same time, like we've had many influencers, whatever you call them, but like athletes or like skaters, for instance, like who we started collaborating with or working with way before they had any kind of like big following or big kind of big reach or whatever. And we've been friends, they've been wearing us, we've been supporting each other, like we were doing projects, they would be there, and the other way around, we would support their projects. And of course, when they grow big, they don't look at you as one of those brands, because you were there when you were growing up. You have some kind of connection, like it's so they look at you in a different kind of perspective, because they want to actually work with you because you help them at the right time, without knowing if they'll blow up and be the big ones. And it's so many examples right now. It's so funny. It's amazing. I really love that. Like looking back and like thinking like how that person came to us. Like I'm thinking about doing this and this, and now when I look and I'm seeing like all those views on YouTube or whatever, that's just it gives me goosebumps all the time.
It's nice to know that these like partnerships or collaborations, I guess depending on if you are the David or the Goliath, can be more about the community around you and just kind of like promoting people or ideas that you think are cool, not necessarily will be the next big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the beginning, we try to be a label, like to give a platform to people. So, and now finally we're getting to the position that we have more chance to do so. So we have more opportunity, because before, like when you have to do your, like when you...
your own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to focus on that. Like, okay, shit, how am I going to pay the payroll and stuff like that, Once you're fine with that, like you already have the homework done, then you can actually do the nice to have, the add-ons, like these kind of things. And I'm like really happy. Like this year already, we've done some collabs with like artists, even one pieces, but we, as the bigger one, like the one with like the bigger following, whatever, we give them the platform to let our followers, our fans know, like, okay, this person is amazing, you should follow them, and we have one piece together with them on stuff like that, And I'm really happy that it's coming there. We're preparing some really cool stuff regarding this for the next year. And like 2-3 years ago, it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
So it's again like time and circumstances, as you said it correctly, yeah.
And do you have maybe a favorite collaboration so far, or maybe that's too hard?
Yeah, that's very hard, but I like it all. It's like it's always about like doing those things that like that sometimes it's even about like I think Virgil say like most of the stuff that I do for the 17-year-old myself. And it's so true, like in so many cases. Like I remember holding our first skateboard decks in my hand, and like it was like, wow, I have my own skateboards. Like it's stupid things. Like you sell 50 of them or like 100 of them. So like it's not a business thing, but you hold it and it means so much to you. Or like last year, exactly a year ago, I almost cried like holding our first sneakers. That was a huge thing. We had been working on it for 3 years on the sneaker, and now we will be releasing the third one. And it's like I remember that feeling, like having in my hand, like thinking like, wow, like our own sneaker, So sometimes it's about also these things, and you're like, wow, I'm working with this person or this designer, this brand, and it's just cool. It's a nice satisfaction, I guess.
Yeah. And so how do you make sure that you can keep having these milestones to work towards?
I don't know. It's so funny, but I kind of keep coming up with these things and kind of keep reinventing myself as well. Mm-hmm. So one thing is I got really deep into the Web3 world, the NFT space, right? And that's something I'm like really passionate about, that I really care about. I think is the future, and like really believe in blockchain as a technology. And I've been really, really like obsessed even with this kind of stuff. So I try to understand usually, like not that really the trends, but like where is the world heading. I try to learn as much as possible about that thing in a short period of time, and then try to find out how can I connect it with what I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. So we created a Rumple Crew NFT project, which is kind of like our loyalty program, basically, for our like hardcore fans. Or right now with Panda Fu, the character, right? So I have a 4-year-old, and I'm really, really like we're like reading a lot of comics and like this. I'm doing this for my like 5-10-year-old myself, right? So like Ninja Turtles and everything. I started studying that all these like comics culture, all the character brands, right? And how can I build one like that, right? And I don't know. It's just I think it's never ending, because you as a person, you get different kind of things that surround you. For me right now, I'm in the children world, or I was more like in the children world with my son, and like hanging out with him, going to these different places. So it was obvious for me like to find something that's like kind of bringing how can I bring my knowledge that I get to know now into the business and make it a business, I guess. Or I don't know. I never really thought about it that way, but I think this is the case, that I just keep reinventing that. And
yeah, I mean, I guess the more you learn or the more you see, then the more you realize you don't know or you haven't done. So yeah. It's kind of limitless. But what is maybe, because you said the projects that you've been doing are kind of projects within your project. Is there something that's really been like a crazy offshoot, not like related at all, that you went out and tried?
What I've done or I plan to do?
Either.
That's a good one. Yeah. So as I said, like the problem, like, and you said it really correctly, it's about the timing. Very often be it with the brand, be it with Forbidden Taste, be it with whatever, like out of my project or out of the stuff that I've done. In many cases, we were too early, sometimes a bit late, but mostly like too early for that. So you create something, you put too much effort into it, but not in the right time. The audience is not ready yet, right? Because like the zeitgeist or like the culture is not ready yet. And if you waited for a little bit longer and just kept doing it, I guess, you know, like the fruit would come, you know. But very often, like I'm already like in my head in the future. So like I'm already like thinking like, how am I building a forbidden spot in the metaverse and doing these really cool like digital experiences there. But then like, again, like I need to put myself back into this planet and like, dude, just wait for 10 years. It will come. You already have it there. You have something planned there. But you know, like if you do it too early, it usually burns like too much of your energy or money. Then when the time is right, or also like all the like the infrastructure is already built and stuff like that, it's much easier usually. So I learned like not to be too much upfront, like in my head, and like and really kind of having this the people around me to give me this kind of
reality.
Yeah, just tell me like not yet.
Yeah. Like you said, since you are getting these things going, it's exciting to keep going and see what you can do next. But I think, yeah, knowing when is the right time to do it is also a really big part of business.
And you need to know like what's paying your bills, you know. So like you have to have this homework done and not make sure that like your core business is doing well, is not untouched before you start doing this kind of like experiments. As I said, like infi.torem, that's my experiment brand. That's something for fun that I'm doing it overnight, like at night, when that keeps me awake because I want to do this fucking chocolate and it's fun. Like I've never launched a chocolate. I've never launched anything in retail, in FMCG, like in the retail space, right? So I'm kind of learning by doing, but I need to know like that it's not risky for my core business, which still needs to be going untouched, and like really making sure that one is taken care of with the right people and the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first things first, exactly.
Yeah. So
then
priorities.
Then you can go crazy.
Yeah.
If you have time and money.
And so is there any other brands or companies that I guess Red Bull kind of gave you your first initial spark or influence, but now is there any brand that you see that like, wow, they're really cool?
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull obviously gave me this kind of infrastructure, however I call it, like this kind of background, like beautiful head start, right? Yeah. Excuse me. And regarding like the fashion brands or like the brands, like there is so many of them, of course, like the streetwear brands out there. Of course, like you see the brands and you're like, wow, this is like so creative. This is so amazing. This is like, wow, this, I wish we had thought about that, or like, fuck, we thought about it like 10 years ago or like 8 years ago. Like, why didn't we do it? Right. Mm-hmm. And so like recently with Kid Super, they are doing amazing. Like they did, it's such a beautiful brand. And this kind of course, it's so many of these brands, even small brands, small designers. And Instagram, you know, like, or TikTok, it's beautiful that it's so close to you. Like all of a sudden, it's not that I'm doing something here in Prague and you're doing something there in like, I don't know, Japan or New York. No, we're like all of a sudden it feels like you're doing it next to me, and I can have this you know, like being inspired right away and can kind of like start doing similar stuff as well. And so it's a lot of brands, but I never took it in a way like I wish we were them. Mm-hmm. I think we are ourselves. We are Live is Porno. Like there is not a brand like us. So that's for sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like in terms of like the influences and everything, like I try to go in depth. And for example, right now when I try to create the character brand of Panda Fu, this panda bear, I study the brands like you know, like the ones that created Hello Kitty, you know, Sanrio, or like Mattel and stuff like that. You know, like I would like to go in depth and really see like what made them what they are right now. And that usually gives me some kind of ideas or things that we could be doing ourselves. So like, I'm not really like, I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to want to be anyone else. I just was wondering if you drew inspiration or there were other brands that got you excited about doing or trying something at Life is Porno.
Yeah, and obviously it's always good to be looking outside, but at the same time to be like really looking into your like own kind of like lane.
Yeah.
And really like not to follow in the trends too much or just doing your own thing. I think that's like authenticity. And that's like right now, 2023 is like the key. Like people won't like, they will believe you for a while, but they will find out that you're not dead.
Oh, they'll find out.
Like very, very soon.
Yeah. But that is what I've also really enjoyed about Instagram is that, at least for me personally, I've been trying to get away from buying into fast fashion. But I love that on Instagram, I can go and I can see not only just like creators and artists and businesses in Prague, but in Europe. And like you said, then it's like this automatic connection to some random brand in Belgium that how else would have, like without the internet and Instagram, how would you ever even hear about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But so you said you're doing more of the marketing side of things.
Yeah, brand marketing business, yeah.
Yeah. Are there any new trends or things there that you are trying to work into the brand or in terms of marketing?
I mean, well, of course, like we as a brand, as I always say, like we want to be where our audience, where our fans are natively, right? So sometimes we are the ones, the fourth, like we see like, okay, the NFT space, I kind of pushed my audience towards Discord and being there and everything like that. They were not there on the platform before, but they're like right now they are on Discord. But in other times, like we try to be like as natural and doing our own thing in the kind of contemporary way, you know?
Yeah.
So like it can be like we like offline stuff. We love like hiding stuff in the streets. We keep doing like a lot. So we take our stuff and just keep hiding in random cities. We do it this week as well. And some people on Instagram, they're just on the stories. They're looking like, where did we hide it again? And we do it a lot. Like for our birthday, we did it in 55 cities in a week. And it was wild. Like the stories that we got from people, and it's just amazing. You know, like it's funny. For example, we in August we decided like, let's go to like the smaller cities, like not the obvious ones that we usually do, like Prague or Bratislava, Brno, and stuff like that. Let's go random, like totally random, where we can get our like people, our team, and it's very easy for us because we have like the network of people, and we did it, for example, in a random village or like Šumperk, right, in like middle of nowhere, basically. I'm sorry for everyone, anyone listening from there. It's beautiful there. It was we hit something there, and a guy wrote us like, "Are you serious? I'm right now literally driving to Prague to keep searching for your stuff, and I live like 100 meters from that place where you hit it, like in Šumperk, right?" And this kind of stories, so like people are like, we're like taking cabs, taking taxi to the places, or like coming there and like, searching, and like the guy came and like, oh, I left my wife who is pregnant and can come at any time, but I really needed to get this. And like these kind of crazy stories. And it's amazing because you get the community going, you get people really involved, and you can give them something, you know, like it's sometimes it's about also giving back and like and having fun, because this is so much fun, to be honest.
Yeah, it's great whenever you can get to the point in your business that you are able to have this fun. Like you said, you have your number one priority figured out, kind of secure, and then you can just try weird shit in your free time.
Yep.
So super
Pretty
cool.
much.
Yeah. So I guess to close, is there anything else that you would want to share with us, or anything in the near future happening? Maybe not like futuristic, but like this year.
Yeah, so obviously, like Christmas is a big deal for us because it's very important. Like I keep saying, like the most of the year we are doing, we're inspiring people and like showing them cool stuff and but at like Black Friday and Christmas is for us like you should buy from us, right? Because that's what our business depends on. So like people know it, they support us, and I really appreciate that. So for us, we're already like planning for the next year. I'm super excited myself personally for some of the stuff that we are planning with Loof and Panda Fu, with the children activities that we are doing. We want to do like a short YouTube series with him, with like the character and this kind of stuff in the beginning of the year. So this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. As well with infi.torem, my mutant ape brand. I'm doing a collaboration with Life is Porno actually now in December. So that's something I'm really, really happy about. And obviously with Life is Porno, we have something pretty cool planned for next year. And let's see how it goes. It's just from all over the place, but it's fun.
Great. I really enjoyed our conversation today. So much information in a short amount of time. I think it was really useful and also interesting.
Wow, appreciate that. And if anybody is interested in what I have to say, I also have a regular newsletter. It's called Extra Mile. So you just find the links on my profiles. I'm Tino Forbidden basically everywhere. X or Instagram or whatever, and so like also the newsletter is something that where I try to share more of this stuff regarding branding, building communities, brands, and stuff like that. So thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Happy that we made it.
Yeah, and all of this information will also be in the show notes, so you can check it out. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Miners Coffee Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And join us next time as we talk coffee, entrepreneurship, success, and urban lifestyle.